Hey Grand Adventurers, welcome back. I'm your host Mark Guido, and we're spending this week in world-renowned Jasper National Park. But what's it like here, following the devastating wildfires in 2024? We'll examine that and a whole lot more as we bring you to Jasper National Park this week. Stay tuned. This episode of Grand Adventure is sponsored by etrailer.com, where you'll find thousands of products for RVing, towing, camping, outdoor recreation, vehicles, boating, and more. Click the link in the video description or scan the code on your screen to shop etrailer.com with Grand Adventure. Searching for a new route to the Columbia River. Surveyor, cartographer, and fur trapper David Thompson's brigade reached the upper Athabasca River in present-day Alberta, Canada in December 1810. The group left William Henry with their supply cache, building a hut and shed across the river from the present-day town of Jasper. Jasper National Park's name originates from Jasper Hawes, a Maryland-born fur trader who in 1817 took command of a replacement post that became known as Jasper's House, which was relocated around 1829. From nearby Brule Lake to here on the shores of Jasper Lake, where it served from 1813 to 1884 as a major staging and supply post for travel through the Canadian Rockies. Also in the early 1820s, fur trader J.F. LaRoque built 8 huts at the present-day location of the town of Jasper. The Canadian government established what was then called Jasper Forest Park in 1907, intended to be developed into an alpine resort similar to Banff National Park, with a train station, tourist hotels, and a service town. In 1911, the Grand Trunk Pacific laid track through the park and over Yellowhead Pass. That same year, the railroad founded the town of Fitzhugh around the company's railway station. The town was renamed Jasper in 1913. From its founding, the town of Jasper has served as a hub for a variety of outdoor sporting activities. Being in such a popular place increases the odds that you'll see some folks who you know, like our friends Mike and Maria from the YouTube channel Buck's Blog. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. No, not that one. This one. On July 22, 2024, fires started both north and south of town and combined, burning out of control and forcing the mass evacuation of residents, workers, and visitors. It quickly became an international news story. A total of 358 of Jasper's 1,113 structures were destroyed, and the fires were not brought under control until September 7th, and not declared extinguished until April 1st, 2025, after consuming nearly 81,000 acres of the national park, becoming one of the most expensive natural disasters in Canadian history. Entire blocks in the town of Jasper were leveled, and many residents are still living in temporary emergency housing. Oddly, some buildings were hit by spot fires, surrounded by others that escaped damage. Where the fires were most intense, the landscape looks like a nuclear holocaust. Forest fires are nothing new here, as large fires were recorded in the Athabasca Valley as early as 1795, 1808, 1830, and 1840. But this one had a devastating impact upon both the area's economy and the park's natural beauty. Nevertheless, there are still large portions of Jasper National Park that remain unaffected by last year's fires, including the Columbia Icefield, Sunwapta Falls, Patricia and Pyramid Lakes, the Athabasca River Valley north of Snaring, and most of the Maligne Valley. We'll share our campsite for our visit to Jasper, along with many of the beautiful sites within Jasper National Park that didn't burn, right after we take a short break for our valued video sponsor, eTrailer. Whether you need products for your RV, boat, trailer, vehicle, hunting and fishing, off-roading, and more, our video sponsor, eTrailer, has you covered. Best of all, you'll find over 100 US-based enthusiast customer service reps ready to help via phone, chat, or email, both before and after the sale. These folks have used themselves the products that you're shopping for, and you won't find a more knowledgeable team anywhere to help you with your outdoor project. Click the link in the video description or scan the code on your screen to shop etrailer.com with Grand Adventure. We're spending our week in Jasper at Whistler's Campground, the most in-demand camping location in the park. This campground, just an easy bike ride south of the town of Jasper, is positively massive, featuring 781 campsites in 48 loops. Loops numbered in the 50s are full hookup, whereas those in the 40s feature electrical hookups. The remainder are dry camping. We're paying $31.87 Canadian per night, or US $23.19 per night at today's exchange rate, for our full-service site in Loop 58, thanks to a 25% discount the Parks Canada has enacted for all national park campsites through September 2nd of this year. The 2024 wildfires destroyed 16 of the 72 structures at Whistler's Campground. Camping loops here were affected disproportionately by the fires. We're fortunate that the damage isn't terribly evident in our loop, but we can't say the same for some of the other loops. The fires also resulted in a huge stack of free firewood for campers staying in loops where campfires are permitted. Herds of elk are regular visitors to the campground here. One crazy thing, this far north in late June, it never gets completely dark. There are periods of civil twilight, nautical twilight, and astronomical twilight overnight, but no periods of technical night. This video clip was taken at 10 p.m., 22 minutes before sunset. We're making good use of our trailer's blackout shades. Overlooking Whistler's campground and the town of Jasper, the Jasper SkyTram was built in 1964 to the summit of the mountain called the Whistlers. It is the longest and highest guided aerial tramway in Canada, reaching an elevation of 7,425 feet above sea level in about 7 minutes. Jasper Park Lodge was established in 1921 by Canadian National Railway and is one of Canada's grand railway hotels. It has amenities such as private cabins, an 18-hole golf course, spa, and restaurants. The lodge hosted the filming of the Bing Crosby film The Emperor Waltz in 1946, as well as Marilyn Monroe's River of No Return and James Stewart's The Far Country in the 1950s. Monroe was evicted from the Jasper Park Lodge during the film shoot for repeatedly dressing inappropriately for dinner. Only a small fraction of Jasper National Park is accessible by road, and over 97% of the park is zoned as wilderness. The road along the Maligne River to Medicine Lake and onto Maligne Lake is an exception. It was built primarily by interned men deemed enemy aliens during World War I, primarily immigrants from the German Empire and the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Internment camps were established again during World War II, when 300 Japanese Canadians were forcibly sent to 3 road camps in Jasper, along with about 160 conscientious objectors, many of them Mennonites from the prairie provinces. Most of the water of the Maligne River reaches the canyon through underground passages from Medicine Lake. This is a losing lake that primarily drains through sinkholes in the lake bottom, and the water is substantially low during our visit. At the head of the valley, at 13.9 miles long, Maligne Lake is the longest natural lake in the Canadian Rockies. There are commercial operators that offer boat rentals and tours, including to Spirit Island, a tide island near the lake's midpoint. We'll be right back with powerful waterfalls, massive glaciers, and more serene Rocky Mountain lakes, right after we take a short ad break, so stay tuned. The Icefields Parkway extends south from the town of Jasper, following the Athabasca River, and includes many of the park's most popular attractions. However, it's also where most of the damage from the 2024 Jasper fires occurred, and the forest has been burned for around 20 miles south of town. Athabasca Falls is a Class 5 waterfall with a total drop height of 79 feet and a width of 151 feet. A powerful, picturesque waterfall, Athabasca Falls is not known so much for its height as for its force, due to the large quantity of water falling into the gorge. The river falls over a layer of hard quartzite and through the softer limestone below, carving a short gorge and a number of potholes. Further south, Sunwapta Falls is a pair of Class 6 waterfalls with a drop of about 61 feet on the Sunwapta River, just upstream of its confluence with the Athabasca River. There are two falls, a lower and an upper one. The one most people see is the upper falls, as access is easier. The lower falls are a short distance away. We're continuing south. As the road begins to climb Sunwapta Pass, we get our first glimpses of the massive Columbia Icefield, which is comprised of many, many glaciers. This one is the Stutfield Glacier. We've got ourselves a ram jam. Near the top of the pass, Athabasca Glacier is a toe of the Columbia Icefield near the park's border with Banff National Park. This glacier extends to within a few kilometers of the parkway, making it one of the most accessible and visited glaciers in the world. It has been steadily receding since at least the 19th century. In fact, in the year 1900, the glacier actually reached the Icefields Parkway. Given its accessibility, we'll take the short hike up as far as we can go. A 1.1 mile interpretive hiking trail leads visitors right up to the glacier with markers showing the glacier's past extent. There's no shortage of people this early evening doing the same thing that I'm doing. The bedrock below the glacier shows scrape marks in the direction that the glacier used to travel here. The 2006 reach of the glacier is unfortunately as far as they'll let us go without a guide. Visitors can hire guides to take them up onto the ice on foot, and tours in specialized vehicles that drive on the glacier are also available. Patricia Lake sits high on a mountain bench above the town of Jasper. It was named for a granddaughter of Queen Victoria. A fun fact, Patricia Lake was used during World War II to build a prototype of an unsinkable aircraft carrier from an ice-based composite material named pykrete, made from ice and sawdust, maintained by refrigeration. Just uphill from Patricia Lake lies Pyramid Lake, a kidney-shaped lake at the foot of Pyramid Mountain. Several picnic sites are established on the shores of the lake, as well as boat ramps and a swimming beach. Pyramid Island is off the lake's eastern shore, where there is a small parking area. Those who cross a small wood footbridge to the island itself will find benches, picnic tables, and a small open wooden shelter. We're going to return to scenic Maligne Lake to do some kayaking, right after another quick ad break to pay the bills. So stay tuned. I positively fell in love with Maligne Lake when we visited earlier this week. So now midday on Saturday, after waiting for the weather to clear somewhat in the morning, I'm heading back there to drop my boat in the water at the launch ramp at the lake's northwestern end. I'm bringing along my rain gear just in case, for showers and thunderstorms seem to pop up regularly around here with little notice. Maligne Lake takes its name from the French word for malignant or wicked. The name was used by the boundless Belgian missionary Father Pierre-Jean de Smet to describe the turbulent river that flows from the lake. Maligne Lake is famed for the azure color of its water, the surrounding peaks, the 3 glaciers visible from the lake's southern half, and Spirit Island, a frequently and very famously photographed island. My objective this morning is a picturesque spot a few miles down the lake called Hidden Cove, which is home to a small 6-site paddle campground with a shelter and a wood stove on an island accessible only by boat. Power boats are permitted on Maligne Lake, but only those with electric motors. The only other folks out here this Saturday afternoon are a few fellow kayakers, canoeists, and the tour boats bringing visitors to Spirit Island. There are also numerous hikes beginning at Maligne Lake. The multi-day Skyline Trail begins here and continues above treeline all the way to the town of Jasper, 27 miles away. Popular day hikes include the Opal Hills and Bald Hills loops. Winter activities here include cross-country and backcountry skiing and snowshoeing. Leah and Samson Peaks and Mount Paul line the lake's eastern shore. And Mounts Charlton, Unwin, Mary Vaughan, and other summits of the Queen Elizabeth Ranges sit to the lake's south and west, making for a very scenic Saturday paddle. Maligne Lake is both very deep and very cold. It averages 115 feet in depth, but reaches 318 feet at its southern end. At an elevation of 5,480 feet, the lake's glacially fed water remains very cold, even in midsummer, around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, making it mildly intimidating to be out here alone. Maligne Lake is also famed for its fishing. The largest rainbow trout in Alberta, over 20 pounds, was caught here, as was the world's 3rd largest brook trout. I've reached Tabletop Rock, with my objective on the island that forms Hidden Cove just beyond. This is a really tidy island camp that would make a fabulous overnight or weekend paddle trip. I realize the bears can swim, but I'm nevertheless grateful that this is an island, for I've left my bear spray behind today. This is pretty nice. It's a crapper with a view. Leaving the island, maybe it's a good thing that I brought the rain gear, for a storm is moving in and the headwinds are picking up as it's starting to sprinkle. The storm largely passed me over, and while the lake is laid down a bit, the headwinds are persisting. The boathouse at Maligne Lake, an Alberta registered historic building, was built by Donald Curley Phillips in 1928 to accommodate his wilderness guiding and fishing business. Today, it serves as the canoe and kayak rental concession. That was an absolutely fantastic way to spend my Saturday. A little over 5 miles on the water. And I can't think of a better way to wrap up our week in Jasper National Park. We hope that you've enjoyed visiting Jasper National Park with us. If you liked this episode, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up down below. And also, while you're down below, that's where you'll find the comments section where we'd love to hear from you each and every week. Now, coming up next week, we're going to get packed up here and head off westward across the province of British Columbia on our way to our 49th camping state, Alaska. So if you're not yet a grand adventurer, there is no better time than right now for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a grand adventure, which we premiere right here every Wednesday evening. We'd be honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. So until next Wednesday, from the interior of British Columbia, please remember life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.